Hey, welcome to the BattleBots After Show Tale of the Tape. I'm your host, Will Bales. This is Michael Lately.
Howdy.
And today we're actually starting off a little differently. We have a special guest. He is the writer of BattleBots Update. If you have not read it yet, it is hilarious. It is extremely not safe for work, or your kids, or your grandmothers, or anyone, but it's hilarious. So actually on the phone right now we have Andre. Hey Andre, how you doing?
Hey Will, hey Mike, I am doing pretty good. How are you guys doing over in Miami?
We are wonderful.
Awesome.
So you want to give us just a quick preview of what you've got for this episode's Tale of the Tape, or on this BattleBots update?
Yes, actually, and I see, I have the stream pulled up over on my end. It's muted. I see that you've just switched over to that beautiful animated GIF I made of Warhead doing his crazy finisher move. I am extremely proud of that.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm going to make it my phone background.
That's beautiful. But actually, I guess I could start things off. I guess talking about BattleBots Update this week. That article ender right there. It's the first time I guess folks that have read the website over the months, and I guess since last year. I started doing this stupid fad where I would put a screenshot at the end of every article, something goofy, and take it out of context. And this was the first time I made one that was animated, and holy hell, that was such a nightmare to get it to look like that. I mean, you can even kind of tell that the robot screenshot that I have very poorly, cut around in Photoshop. I had to render it in like 256 colors to save on the compression. Otherwise, it was going to be like a 14 megabyte animated file.
Oh my god!
And that wouldn't have happened. My web host, not to knock them, but I've got like the bottom tier server hosting package. So the very first time BattleBots actually promoted BattleBots Update on their social media page, and we got like 10,000 hits in the course of like 10 minutes. It just tanked the website, and I got a nice letter from my host saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" So I had to explain to them that I had just been featured by a TV program, this invention called the television, and sometimes it draws attention to things that the people on the TV talk about. So there's my anecdote. There's the story behind how I can't run my website very well. But this week on the update, I mean, last night's episode was absolutely fantastic. We got to see a lot of mini-bots, and that was kind of the subject that when I was talking to Andrea on Facebook, we were kind of brainstorming some things to talk about, and the subject of mini-bots is something I kind of wrote down because, I've followed the sport for, I originally saw BattleBots on pay-per-view in 1999. My father bought what's called a hot box, which are totally illegal. It was a cable box with a descrambler in it, and you plugged in the cable, it would descramble all of the pay-per-view channels. In hindsight, I realized that he probably bought that to watch adult-related programming, but when I'm 14 years old, I guess if I was 14, I probably should have put two and two together, but I was too busy watching Godzilla, like the awful Matthew Broderick one. And and then there was this thing called BattleBots, and I tuned in. I thought it was phenomenal, and I remember the first robot I saw that actually stuck with me was Ginsu with just the big saw blade tires. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world, but I was sold from there. And then I saw Abattoir, which is my favorite robot of all time, and I've been a fan ever since. But when they got picked up for Comedy Central the very next year, you never really saw like mini bots. I mean, you would see it was something that people had attempted, but they were never really viable. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So these days, I mean, you're seeing robots like Gemini, which are like a straight 50-50 split in weight, where you basically have two middleweights, and you have like creepy crawlies, which is literally just a lightweight rumble in a bag that they just bring, just unfold in the arena. It's like bam, good to go. Sponsored by Hexbug or whatever. And these days, there's even newer mini bots now that it's like the Team Whyachi mini bot. That's just a tiny little ramp. It's literally just a doorstop, and I think it's I think it's the dumbest thing ever, but I also think it's fantastic because, when they wheel this into the arena, these robots weigh 250 pounds. So when you have a robot like Ghost Raptor, the saber-toothed cat itself, it just gets high-centered on this dinky little doorstop, and then Whyachi comes in and has to lay out the big whammy. I like that they kind of set a precedent with that fight, because now if you pay attention and you go back and look at these other fights, you'll see that Complete Control brought 2 remote-controlled cars into the arena to fight Warhead. I guess presumably to try to get stuck underneath Warhead so they could come and grip him and rip him and burn him. It didn't work. I mean, as we all saw, Complete Control kind of had its side ripped open and then just fire. I think on BattleBots Update, I described the fire as it's not like a battery fire. It's not like when Witch Doctor had this unfortunate battery meltdown. It's not like when Whyachi threw one of the creepy crawlies at the wall and its lipos just went up in smoke. This was a fire. It was like an unattended barbecue pit that burned down half the neighborhood. It's just roasting. It's just cooking there. Like a car accident on the 6 o'clock news that everybody died. Fire. I hope it's the next fight that goes viral, honestly, because I know last week you guys talked to Al Kindle about his fight with Minotaur, and that fight has 20 million views on Facebook. It's gone viral. I mean, in a literal sense, and it's fantastic because Blacksmith takes a beating and he blows up. But this fight is the one. I mean, there's the animated GIF right there. Warhead just comes in and just rips a gash in. He choops the fire, goes up in flames, and then he pulls off that finisher, and it's just beautiful. And it's unfortunate that Complete Control's mini-bots didn't get to do what they wanted them to do, but at least it gave us this moment.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a perfect opportunity to lead right into the first fight of the night, fight between Warhead and Complete Control. Thanks for your input, Andre. If you guys want to read some extremely funny, extremely vulgar stuff about BattleBots, go to battlebotsupdate.com and definitely read it all. It's hilarious. Thanks again, Andre.
Awesome. You're welcome, Will. I also want to say real quick, shout-outs to the rake that's sitting behind you. I know what that's all about, and I think it's fantastic.
I assure you I have no idea what you're talking about.
Alrighty.
All right. Thanks, Andre.
All right. Have a great show. Bye.
Thanks. All right. Well, I guess we should go right into it. So, first fight, Warhead versus Complete Control. This is... I didn't know what to expect out of this. I like Warhead this year around. It was, in my head, it was preempted by a lot of other really cool looking robots like Red Devil, and I had my fanboying Phil last year, so I didn't know what to think. I was happy that it actually won a match to begin with.
Warhead's one of those timeless classics, though. It's always awesome to look at, and it really is a piece of art. Complete Control really dominated his first match, so.
Yeah,
interesting going into this to see what was going to happen.
Yeah, so why don't we go straight into the fight? Here we are with the little mini bots that Andre was talking about, just kind of whirling around, and then all of a sudden, Warhead just takes a giant gash out of Complete Control. You and I were talking earlier, Mike. I thought it was a little unfair that Complete Control had this really low defense score. I was like, what the heck is this all about? And then within 10 seconds of the first, of the beginning of the fight, there's a giant hole inside.
Which disables that drive on the one side, so he's kind of flopping around. But
there's another jam him up.
Another jam him up moment. But Derek came out strong and quick with Complete Control to try to get a grab on Warhead, which, in hindsight, I don't know if that was the right move.
It's Complete Control. What's he going to do?
But he even says before, Warhead is not a very stable robot, and
that's true.
And he would kind of want to
look
take
at that.
advantage of that.
Speaking
right?
of not stable.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe he should have tried to get that happening a little bit earlier in the match instead of going for the grab immediately. But that first hit really screwed up complete control there.
Yeah.
It was pretty much downhill from there.
Yeah. Speaking of downhill, so
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Well, yeah, for the people who already saw the episode, you know what's about to happen. But just watch. It's amazing. Every time I watch it, I am blown away that actually happened. And you talked to Simon Scott, right?
I did. So Simon, even at the end of the match here, they're celebrating. Simon says, they designed Warhead to be able to do that, and they knew it could do that. They just never had an opportunity to. And there was their opportunity. He made it seem as though that was completely planned. He had 100% control over Warhead doing that. And I don't want to call BS on it, but
it's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe.
It's hard.
And I'd say a 1 in a million chance he actually hit complete control on the other side of the arena there.
Well, I mean, you think about all the other times that Tombstone, that Warhead, big horizontal spinners have just gone flailing around. Even in the premiere fight episode with Invader, it was just bouncing around, and there were 2 robots in there, and it didn't hit one of them either time. It took Lycan and Mohawk to actually go over him to actually hit him. So it was obviously a lucky shot.
Right. Yeah, I mean, whether Simon, tipped the back of Warhead up to get it to actually translate across the arena, I think that's feasible. That's definitely, I think that's possible. But directional control over it, I don't think. I mean, I think it's basically just doing a headstand and since the head is spinning, it's just kind of going wherever the head is spinning.
And the body, you can see in the video, is actually is processing as well. Right. So
I don't think.
You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Simon Scott, Ian Lewis, you guys did something that blew everyone's mind. So good for you. And this controller, I don't know how you do it. We were debating about 20 minutes how everything works.
All the 3 guys on Warhead do something to control Warhead.
Well, for HyperShock, there are 3 drivers, and I know exactly how hard it is. So the fact that they got it all working, and they got the head articulating, and the tail, and the wings, mind-boggling. So congratulations, you did what I didn't think was even possible. You're the breakdancing king. Congratulations. Oh, and before we go on, the little finger that Complete Control used was awesome. I need one. Can we get one?
Was that real? Like someone's real hand, a baby hand, maybe?
Well, he's the bad boy of BattleBots, so he could have just severed a hand. Could have been. Do we have any questions about that fight?
One question is, what head do you think Warhead's going to use for their next match?
Which configuration?
I would use the one that actually does damage.
Who are they fighting? Minotaur?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go with the weapon configuration. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely. Look, the Dragon Head is cool. It's certainly awesome, and it breathes fire, and against Walden Overlord, the
only robot that really could have used that configuration against.
Yeah, it was perfect, and it was an amazing fight, and like I said before, it was the one fight that you can show to all your friends. They're like, oh, well, what if you had a guy with a shield and a dragon that breathes fire? That's the fight, followed by Brutus with his guns. But if you are serious about actually winning, this is one of the problems with BattleBots from a designer standpoint, which is how do you make something interesting and different and fun to watch
and
that won't suck?
Yeah. That is the delicate balance.
Yeah, and Warhead is riding that razor edge all the time. So yeah, if they have any sense, which they definitely do, they're going to go with the dome, because otherwise you're toasted.
Right.
The next question is, when is Warhead entering a dance competition?
When is Warhead entering a dance competition?
I don't think
not
they need
soon
to.
enough.
I think they just won all dance competitions of all time ever.
They just won the first and only BattleBots breakdancing competition.
Them or Minotaur?
Them or Minotaur?
Which one dances?
No, not even a question.
Ultraviolent.
Ultraviolent with their
jumping jacks.
whirly gigs?
Yeah.
That would be a great rumble.
That would be pretty cool.
Where Warhead starts upside down.
Stinger can get in there.
Stinger can get in there.
So you're saying there's no wheels?
Yeah, you're not allowed to use normal locomotion methods. So Stinger can be in there. Even Yeti can be in there with their little thing.
Yeah. We could be in there.
Yeah, just
ours broke.
Any vertical spinner can only use one side of wheels. That's the deal.
Okay.
So you have to do the wiggle.
That would
Rex
actually
could
be
be
cool.
in there just for
doing
fun.
normal stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, they would,
Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll keep going.
Nope.
All right, so next fight, Razorback versus Ghost Raptor. I am very happy to see Razorback in the actual tournament because I saw it last year, and last year we were hoping that HyperShock was going to be like this super cool, like super sexy, super sleek, really well machined thing, and then this jerk shows up with Razorback, and it's freaking beautiful. Yeah, so I'm happy that it's actually performing and it's winning matches.
I didn't actually get to see any of their matches last year in person. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's on TV, but
Yeah, and their fight against Icewave didn't last very long.
yeah, that's true.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
They actually fought Complete Control in a grudge match. I don't know if that ever actually got on air.
I think it's on YouTube though.
Is it? Because I'm pretty sure Razorback won with a little vertical disc with a stump remover teeth. It was actually very cool. So let's see. I think we just go right into the fight. Yeah, go for it. So I noticed that in this fight they took the two prong thing and just put one in the center. Are they actually trying to crush something?
I don't know how much force that thing generates, but it's definitely cool.
Yeah.
Suplex, the ultimate suplex to
Yeah. Okay, Chuck.
Chuck.
Dude, I love you, and I know you're a really nice guy. You need to make a weapon that works. Like seriously, I know I'm not one to talk, but like, come on, dude, you're turtled. You turtled right there, and basically the rest of the match is Ghost Raptor trying to get back up and then getting turtled again and again and again.
Yes.
And then right there, the little magic smoke comes out. But yeah, this is just so sad. But okay, credit where credit's due. Ghost Raptor was wrecked versus Son of Whyachi.
It was.
It was
And they somehow rebuilt that whole thing overnight.
yeah.
Was it overnight or 2 days?
I think they said 20 hours.
20 hours. Incredible.
Yeah, it was like
And it looked.
they fought like Wednesday,
Yeah.
and then Thursday was the break day, and then we had to fight Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So they put that thing together from scraps.
Or
In-
he had
in
extra
a
parts.
day.
I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's how
impressive.
wrecked it was. I'm amazed that it worked. Everything passed inspection. You can't fight without an active weapon.
right.
And I'm sure that the bar was critical to their active weaponiness, and it was spinning, just not fast
For the first hit.
enough. Yeah, it needs to be higher key. It just doesn't have enough mass. It has no follow through.
Who knows what the problem is there, though? I mean, he's got two long mags for the weapon. I mean, should be plenty of power.
I don't think he was using both because I think they were strapped for weight, and you can see in a lot of the photos there's only one V-belt on that weapon.
Oh,
That might be the problem.
that could be part of the
You
problem.
can see, yeah. There's only one belt, so I don't know what happened, but I don't know.
Season 3,
yeah,
buddy.
Yeah, season 3. You can take a lick and keep on ticking. Just build something with a better weapon. Are there questions about the Razorback Ghost Raptor fight?
The first question is saber-toothed turtle, question mark?
Saber-toothed Turtle is a great robot name, and if someone doesn't take it in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to. Next question.
We don't have another question, but we have a comment that working Ghost Raptor this year may be worse than broken Ghost Raptor last year.
I think they're both bad. They're the same robot, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he made any substantial changes.
The argument there is that I think the argument is that not working Ghost Raptor with busted blade.
Oh, broken bar. Okay.
With broken
okay,
bar.
Okay. Yeah,
the
yeah.
broken bar was forced to give up on the bar and then said, all right, let me work with the main. Well, what was the most effective part of that robot, which was the lifting thing
Right.
with various attachments, de-icers and such. It did do really well last year. And all the people that were upset that it got a wild card, it did really well last year. It got to the quarterfinals, semifinals. It got up there.
Yeah.
And Chuck deserved it. And based on prior performance, I think he earned it. But like that's a very good point that I did not consider. Maybe trying to nurse a bad weapon is worse than just having your weapon ruined.
Maybe. Well, that proves that he's good at improvising, right? Yeah. Oh.
I guess it's Terry Ewood's fault for not breaking it enough. Are there more questions? Okay.
No.
Why does he got stitches?
Oh, why does he have stitches? We were speculating. I think someone told him that his robot sucked, and then he got in a fight.
I think, maybe at the viewing party he traded words with someone. Maybe it was Terry.
Maybe it was Terry. Maybe Terry flew in from Wisconsin. All right, next fight. Tombstone versus Escape Velocity. Ray Barca versus Ray Billings. It was Ray. Ray.
Ray. It was Cray Cray.
Yeah.
Number 1 seed versus number 32 seed. So you kind of have a pretty good idea what's going to happen going in.
Yeah, you must know. I feel so. Ray Barca was in BattleBots IQ with
in
all
high
of
school.
us.
Back in high school
with all of us. He's working at SpaceX right now because he's awesome.
So it was awesome to see him back.
Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, we talked to him
E2,
before.
V2, didn't he? Yeah.
Did he?
I think it was E2.
What team
V2.
was he on? Do you know, Andrea? Ray?
He was on E2V2?
Yeah.
E2V2.
If he was E2V2,
Which
they
was
were
like a
two
super
it was
winning robot.
Really
yeah.
awesome. In fact, the one go-to photo for a long time
E2
of
and
all
Blender,
robots was Blender versus E2V2,
Yeah.
and E2V2 was 2-time, 3-time
Yeah,
national
yeah.
champion.
They got
It was-
first the year we got second.
Yeah. Well, there you
Very,
go.
very winning robot.
So it was a really good robot. So he had the pedigree, and he's obviously got the chops. They've got the manpower. They had a huge team. They got the smarts for sure. And unlike I think a lot of new teams that popped up with lots of smart people, they had some combat robot experience. So I was hoping for a lot from Ray Barca.
Yeah. Well, Andy came in with the multi-bot
Yeah.
configuration, which is difficult to do because you have to, he actually has his spinner's 30 pounds, right?
I think
so
so.
it's about the same as Shaman.
Yeah.
And, that's a substantial piece of weight you take out of your main bot.
That's 30 pounds of armor.
Yeah, exactly. Which he chose to not run his spinner in this match.
They took a page out of the Witch Doctor book and didn't run it. It's actually a very
It's
cool
actually the
robot.
opposite of what we did.
Well,
right? So
versus Tombstone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he put 30 pounds of armor on.
No, he did.
Exactly.
He put a whole bunch of foam,
Aluminum honeycomb.
aluminum honeycomb, yeah, and then covered it in awesome gold foil.
Inexpensive gold foil.
A very expensive gold foil. Yeah, I mean it looked good. Shout out to the little mini bot. It was actually really cool. It's all composite. It was of the 3 things at BattleBots that were composite. It was HyperShock, Bad Kitty, and that thing. And I think that was the best made for sure.
It was very cool.
It was super cool. It was made like a composite pressure tank for
Yeah, it looked like the top of a
freaking
pressure
rocket.
tank,
So
yeah.
it was awesome. So fight. Unfortunately, what do you expect? It's Tombstone.
Well, Ray Barca comes out pretty quick here,
Yeah.
aggressive. He misses a critical flip there,
Yeah.
which might not have changed the outcome of the match, but it definitely would have thrown Tombstone off balance a little bit.
I'm impressed how well it's taking hits. I mean, obviously, pieces of that honeycomb are coming off. But I'm impressed how well it's taking hits, given that, it's Tombstone. Its escape velocity was 30 pounds under, maybe 20 pounds under with its armor. And Tombstone's, thing is destroying things, ripping everyone to pieces. So, I don't know. I was impressed. Do you think that was the honeycomb, or do you think it was just it was all titanium?
I mean, the whole thing was welded titanium. I'm pretty sure. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beefy. Do you have a picture of? So that's part of the honeycomb.
Yeah,
right?
that's part of
that
the
was ripped
honeycomb.
off. But I mean, there were some pretty big gashes in
the tie.
Yeah, through the tie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Tombstone
It's Tombstone.
is cray, so no surprise there. But Unfortunately, so we found out from Escape Velocity what the main issue with their robot was, why it shut off at the end there, and kind of a noob issue. But he used some pretty fragile power switches, so they just couldn't handle those hits from Tombstone.
Yeah, the Hella switches, right?
Hella switches.
Yeah, so they're these old. They're used for like
automotive. They're automotive.
Yeah, they're automotive for boats and stuff, marine grades. You can get them like waterproof, and it's a red key, and you put it in, twist 90 degrees, and that was the de facto standard for big robots in 2008, 2007 when Ray last competed.
Right.
So I guess it made sense, but
yeah,
I'm impressed that was the only thing that stopped. I mean,
that was the
fight
first
with
thing.
Tombstone,
It was the first
so
thing.
Who knows what would have gone next?
Yeah, right.
But I was impressed that was the thing that killed him. And with some big Whyachi switches, or some big contactors, it would be good to go again, and it should be interesting. I want to see more power out of the flipper because in the fight against is it Overdrive? It got a couple flips in, but it wasn't Bronco's flips,
Right.
For sure, and it wasn't even a Lucky flips. I wanted big flips.
So they didn't have a buffer tank, I don't think, and then they also had it's a different kind of geometry.
Yeah.
The flipper,
Is
like
it 4-bar linkage or something?
It was
it
like
like pushes down and like forward.
Yeah.
It kind of does like a scoop thing,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Different.
it's super cool.
I mean, if they had the power behind it, I mean, it would be super cool. But hopefully they can get that
if you
thing
can see
refined.
it, it's very strange. Watch carefully. It pushes the back of the arm down and forward.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. I'd love to see some more technical data on that. Actually, I'd love to see how it really works and how they decided to do something so complicated. Because that's really complicated, well executed, clearly. Because it did work. It just it didn't have the punch.
Right.
So,
Questions?
Do you know the difference in weight between the blue blade and the red blade on Tombstone?
Good question. I don't.
I
I don't know.
I know the red blade's like 70 pounds or something.
Yeah, I would think they're probably plus or minus 10 pounds from each other. I wouldn't think they're that.
Did they do anything else when they switch it?
I don't think so. I think just the heaviest configuration is maybe he puts more. I don't know.
I don't know what he does.
It's a
there's
black
a lot
box.
of little quirky things that Ray does. It's funny because we all joke that it's this old robot that's a decade old, but every year he builds a brand new one and he tweaks little things and
It works.
and he had shock mounted gearboxes this year. So you can go back and see that it's very similar,
Right.
but he does all these changes, and I don't think he wants to tell people all of them until after the event, after he's like destroyed you.
Yeah, I think he likes keeping it hush. Like, oh, it's just the same thing, whatever, and then it's scarier every year. So
You guys have seen Ray on TV. He's pretty casual. He's not really concerned. He's doing it because he loves it and it's fun, and he gets to have a good time, and there's no one really in his way.
he's made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, yes,
He thinks there's nobody in his way.
He knows there's no one in his way. I wonder who will stop him.
Aha.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Escape Velocity's spinner multibot looked heavier than most. Do you know what the weight split was?
I think it was 30 pounds, 30-something pounds.
Actually, I think it was more.
Was it more?
I heard it was more like 70 pounds. They had
Was it?
almost a third of their weight.
No.
I
That's what I
recall.
They actually say in the episode. They say it. But I don't remember what it is because we don't have the full episode.
Well, I guess you'll have to do some research.
Watch the episode and find out. But yeah, I thought it was like 30. It's not a big robot, and it's composite shell, so I wouldn't think it'd be super heavy.
If you go to their Facebook page for Escape Velocity Ground Control, it's beautifully made. I mean, all their stuff is beautifully made. It's skeletonized to Kingdom Come. Everything is optimized. I think they turned down mag motors. Like they turned down the outside can of motors to make it a little bit lighter. It was, and change the motor properties. But what engineering things. It's beautiful. You should actually go check it out because theirs was one of the more underrated robots there, I think, in terms of just beautiful, aesthetic awesomeness.
Rank them.
Rank them?
Engineered robots at the competition.
Engineered robots at the competition? I'm not going to rank them right now because I'm going to get in trouble.
There's too many.
HyperShock cannot be on top.
HyperShock's way at the bottom. We YOLO too hard. Any other questions? All right, well, then I think we should go to the final fight of the night, Son of Whyachi versus Poison Arrow. This fight was unexpected.
Let's talk about the 100 points for weapons for Son of Whyachi.
Earned.
Well earned after taking out, 7 robots in the Rumble? 6 robots? I don't know. A lot of damn robots.
Yeah, there were 5 creepy crawlies, 6 robots.
6
5
robots.
creepy crawlies and ultraviolet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 6
That's
robots.
how you get 100 points
Yeah.
for weapons.
And it was 120-pound spinning bar?
Yes.
The top rotor
The whole
on
thing.
Son of Whyachi is as heavy as half of Gemini. To give you some perspective.
Yeah.
Or,
An entire middleweight robot.
yeah,
So
entire middleweight robot. So, absolutely nuts.
And
What-
Poison Arrow's weapon is 70 pounds.
Yeah,
To give you
equally impressively heavy, but
60%
leagues
the weight.
different.
Yeah.
It was. I went into this thinking, well, Son of Whyachi is just gonna
Wreck.
wreck and do the Son of Whyachi thing and just throw a poison arrow across the arena. I figured the problem here is the only shot that Poison Arrow has is to get their drum perfectly tangential to Sao's spinning trifecta of doom, and
Which Poison Arrow is a very small robot.
it's very small.
And Son
The
of
drum
Whyachi is a huge robot.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter where on Sao you come from because it spins all the way around. There's no exposed area, and 270 degrees of Poison Arrow is exposed, or not weaponized anyway, I should say. And the drum is recessed pretty far into those side rails. So I had this vision of us, one of those giant hammers on Sao coming in, denting in one of those side plates on Poison Arrow, crushing a bearing or crushing jamming the whole thing up, drink, and just owning, and then proceeding to go through the tail and the quadcopter and everything, and then this happened.
You want to call Casey? Or call him after?
We'll call him out
Okay.
because I want to see this again every time I see it. Yeah, Minibot's gone because screw Minibot's. I hate Minibots. No offense. And then, so they get one little hit. I'm like, oh, and then they blow them out of the entire arena, like practically. They
All the
say
way
that
across.
it was 10 feet. I find it hard to imagine that it was 10 feet, but it was a hell of a hit,
It was an insane
and it was
hit.
far. I mean,
It
that
was
was
really
a
far.
30-foot hit. For perspective, the arena is 48 feet across, and it was the majority of the arena. Watch it again. Each of the the floor panels is 4 by 4 feet. If you can see the seams. Do it. Do the thing. Do the thing. Yay! I'm amazed that they didn't actually hit their own drone with Son of Whyachi. Should we call Casey?
I think so.
I think we should call Casey. You want to talk about show the picture, the Dan Longmire picture
Which one?
of flying Son of Whyachi. Yeah, that one. There's Poison Arrow, there's Buzz the drone, and then there's Son of Whyachi, at least by perspective, above their drone. It was awesome.
That's, not quite 10 feet, but I mean,
No,
it's
I don't
impressive.
think it was 10 feet,
It's
but
impressive.
At least.
I'd say 5-6 feet. Yeah, I mean, it's up there. That's insane.
Hey guys. So I don't know if you're watching, but we just watched you obliterate Son of Whyachi again and again and again. And then we just actually showed the Dan Longmire photo of Son of Whyachi above Buzz.
Oh yeah, I think we framed that photo in our minds and walls
You
and
should have it
hearts.
tattooed on your forehead so that every time you walk down the street, everyone knows, oh, hey, it's those guys who threw Son of Whyachi 30 feet.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, we always knew that would be a possibility, but going into it after our lackluster performance against Megatento, it was kind of a funeral procession going in there.
Well,
Yeah, when we saw the brackets come out, we were like, well, we deserve this.
We had a good run. It's been fun.
Well, Zach, I mean, you say in the clip before that they show on the episode that you say you're going to spin full speed and drive straight into Son of Whyachi, which I'd say you did, but before you did that, you decided to take out the mini bots.
Yeah.
I mean,
you really know what they were running.
Really took.
They got a couple different attachments, so they get into the arena and they throw out their mini bot. And we're like, oh great, fun, this stupid thing. But we knew that Son of Whyachi moves kind of slow, and it takes us like 12 seconds to spin up. So on our way over to meander to Son of Whyachi, we're just like, what's a little detour, you know?
Well, I'm just going to say that at least tactically, in hindsight, I think it was a smart move because of Ghost Raptor in the Ghost Raptor Sal fight. Because Ghost Raptor and Sal both got high centered on that damn little wedge. So it's actually probably a pretty smooth move to go and just knock it out of the stratosphere.
That's also gutsy too.
It's ballsy. It's very ballsy.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
still there?
Oh yeah, we're still here.
We're still here.
Yeah, no, there was a ton of pressure lining up that hit. So anything that could be done to kind of make the focus more on Son of Whyachi, yeah, totally. That's why the mini bot had to die.
So with that massive impact between you guys spinning full speed, I guess, and them spinning probably full speed, if you believe what Terry said, did you guys sustain any damage whatsoever?
So, like, after that hit, Zach and I both thought, like, okay, well, the robot's dead. And as you can probably see in the video, you see my reaction as Zach's like, it's still alive. Both of us are just, like, losing it because we anticipated that the bearings are totally shot. And so we pull the bot out of the arena, we get back to the pit, and we didn't see much damage on the outside. So we kind of thought, okay, well, the innards are just, like, Jello at this point. And so we're opening it up and just looking around and nothing. Like, there was some aluminum rubbed on the drum. There was a tiny bit of Son of Whyachi stuck to the drum, but that was about it. So we were just absolutely stunned that it survived.
Yeah, and funny story, leading up to that fight, we expected just everything inside the robot to just shatter. So we were actually pumping the entire internal full of hot glue just to try and hold everything in place. So when that big hit happened, it wouldn't just fall apart inside.
I guess it worked, because, clearly it didn't work. Did you have to go back and meticulously Sharpie all the little black spots?
There are actually, I don't think we had to go back on that one, because they didn't even get a hit on any of our non-drum surfaces.
So
yeah, it was all negative.
So what you're saying, just so I can clarify, is that Megatento did more damage than Son of Whyachi
With 100 weapons points.
Yeah. I don't know what the weapons points is of Megatento, but it's definitely far from 100.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
All right, well, the more you know. Let it be known. Megatento is the most dangerous robot in this entire event.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Paper beats rock.
Well, that's... Casey, we have a question for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, here, 1 second.
Did you make any major tweaks between your first fight and your second? The performance seemed to be night and day.
They asked...
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys hear it.
I think Zach and I both, we sat in the test arena. After Megatento, we were just kind of like, all right, something's got to get fixed. And so we sat in the test arena. The Megatento fight The 12-second spin up was more like 15. It just was not kicking. So we sat in the test arena for what, like an hour, 2 hours, just constantly trying to tweak settings and trying to go through things. Zach was trying to come up with any question, anything we could think of, and Zach was, sending emails to the speed controller companies, and they couldn't figure it out. And so it took us a long time, and ultimately you just kind of run out of time and out of ideas, and you don't want to get too risky with your tweaking because you don't want to break something. So we really tried to spend time during the event just dialing in that drum. So
yeah, we had done a ton of analysis, actual math, and we knew that the drum was supposed to be able to spin up in 4 seconds according to the modeling that we had done. And this 12, 15-second thing, was just very disappointing. So we were doing whatever we could at the event to try and improve things. It definitely, we made some progress for this Whyachi site.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Poison Arrow, Witch Doctor, and HyperShock were all basically using the same speed controller. And
Even Ringmaster.
Yeah.
A version.
And the Brazilians.
And the Brazilians, yeah, and Minotaur. Everyone was using the same speed controller, and I think the only team that came to the event knowing what they were doing was Minotaur.
And that's because they put 2 of the controllers in there.
Yeah.
All the rest of us only had 1.
Well,
And I think a big factor.
yeah.
They forced that piece of junk to work.
So what I got, we were having issues with the current shutdown, like automatically shutting down the weapon. So basically what the Brazilians told us was, yeah, we just turn all that crap off. Like they just, they do it totally manual. And he says, yeah, they have repeated issues with those things, but they basically try to turn off any fail-safe settings, take the smartness out of the controller, and just leave it in Daniel's hands, basically.
So what you're saying is they take the $700 controller that we all pay for with all these fancy things because it works better and it's got more bells and whistles, and they rip all the bells and whistles off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Put it in YOLO mode.
YOLO mode.
Yeah, put it in YOLO mode.
They should have that.
They
You
should.
click it and it like grays out all the other options. And
Charles
it's just,
One, if you're listening, Brushless Rage should have a YOLO mode. Put in the YOLO mode, Charles.
We have one more.
Oh, we have another question.
Yeah. One more question for the team. What's up with Poison Arrow's tail?
What's up with your tail, man?
With the tail?
The best part of the robot.
Isn't it the best part? Like, seriously, we were trying to come up with something to make. So when we first started the design of Poison Arrow, it looked a lot like Unmakerbot, our lightweight, and it looked so much like our lightweight that it really looks like a box with wheels. And so we were trying to come up with some way to make it do something else. And that's where the tail spawned. It was kind of a spur of the moment, just rapid prototype and see what happens. And it was kind of on the back burner for most of the build because that's how those things go. And the last minute, Hannah on our team just kind of stepped up and just made it happen. So, I had all these parts kind of designed and pieced out. And she just kind of jumped in last minute. Was like, all right, we're doing this. And so it's like, all right, you're driving it. So yeah, we just wanted to make something. I wanted to try to make something that was just ridiculous.
Oh, and it was ridiculous.
So
because we got 2 comments from the audience that was like, "Oh, that thing's so gross."
Yeah.
It's so gross.
So can you guys actually explain the functionality of the tail?
So the idea with the tail is, Poison Arrow is kind of like this, it's like this newt frog reptilian, creature. And the idea is the tail is, we were trying to make something that possibly could, just like the mini-bot, get in the way. The idea was that maybe we could give some easy points to another competitor if we just drop the tail. it still wiggles. You know, it kind of gives a distraction. I mean, that was kind of our mini-bot philosophy with the drone. You know, the drone effectiveness, we weren't really going for, we're going to set another robot on fire, which, thank you, Reddit, I get it. Seriously, the idea was more of, you know, when you're fighting a robot, and then in the corner of your eye you see flame, like, kind of instinctually, you're kind of like, I want to see it. And the idea was, if we could keep the drone kind of out of the fight, you know, like, let's just make a distraction. Like, let's just try to get the driver of the other bot to look away at the wrong moment. And that's kind of what the tail was for, too. You know, not a lot of people really got to see the tail before the matches, you know, do its thing. And so we're just kind of hoping that people would just kind of get slightly distracted and just look over and just kind of wonder what's going on just long enough. I mean, you need just a moment to get the right shot lined up. And so, and, you know, why not? It's crazy.
It adds so much character to the robot. You know, otherwise, it's just, you know, typical boss like Minotaur. You know, it looks just like Minotaur but with the tail.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with you. I remember Warrior Client saying something really similar. It's not that we really expect to light someone on fire as much as we hope to distract somebody. And I remember going into the fight that we're going to show next week. I was wigged out by it. I just didn't like. You know, it's not this thing that you think is actually going to destroy your robot, but it could cause your robot to be destroyed.
yeah. So, I mean, as much as people are hoping that these things, I think that people are looking for, like, direct results, and I think the drones are giving the matches something else. It's more of psychological warfare.
It's a little more nuanced than just sheer destruction. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that, you know, all adds up to victory.
I mean, like, multi-weapons. I mean, you look at Bombshell, multi-weapons. It's like, yeah, great, okay, multi-weapon bot, you know, they're sacrificing possibly some energy for this modularity, but where it really helps you is, like, it's that, like, what are they going to do? It's another variable in the equation that you have to think about. And so if you can control as many of those variables, you know, then you're getting the upper hand. So I think, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, in the future they kind of maybe showcase that a little bit more on how us builders try to mess with each other's minds before the matches.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But, you know, ultimately, you know, it's like we had a little bit extra weight. It was 3D printed. It was all cheap. So it was just kind of like, let's do something fun. We're on TV. Like, this is the only time you're going to get to do something like this. You know, do something for the fans. Give them something to see that, you know, they haven't seen before.
Well, it's an awesome robot. I love it. I think it was one of the better executions of drones. I hope to see some flying robots in the future that actually can really do something actively in the fight instead of, you know, trying to just distract. Maybe you guys should prioritize the weight of the tail into the flying bit later.
Yeah, we'll have to see how if they let us up the weight of the drones next year.
We'll see. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, talk to you later, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Well, I guess that concludes the match. Do we have any general questions? Oh, so I was going through the fight and I saw a rare beast. I saw a Terry Ewert smile. See it? It's right there. It's right there, and it's awesome. And then he stopped smiling. That was right after. That was Terry right after Son of Whyachi flew 30 feet and 6 to 10 feet in the air and was not
the
working.
scold of disbelief, I think that is.
Yeah, that was when Terry Ewert, yay! And then another Terry Ewert was like, oh, boo. I do like that he has his earpiece in still. Like he's going to take a business call.
He might.
He probably was on a call.
Who knows?
He's a serious gentleman.
He has that earpiece at all times.
He does. So, do we have any other
We
questions?
have one last question. And
Okay.
This is coming from somebody who just admitted they haven't built a robot before, but they wanted to know, why do some of the bots seem to stop working when they are hit very hard, only to start working again spontaneously?
That could be a variety of problems.
Yeah. Well, for starters, the one thing in a robot that is the least optimized for shock loads or anything is the receiver that your transmitter talks to. And it's this little thing, not this big, it's a little piece of plastic with the world's tiniest little wires. And there's nothing, commercially available to really ruggedize that system. You're totally limited by the size of the PWM wires, which are itty bitty little, like 18
24 gauge.
24 gauge. They're like 24. You're right. Yeah, they're really small, little itty bitty wires. And in fact, in the Bombshell versus Complete Control fight, that is why Complete Control won, because they just roasted all the insulation on those little signal wires, which are all PVC meltable, not silicone. And that's the weak point. So you could totally imagine that it's just jostling around in there, and the signal wire is just kind of teetering on the edge of working.
And that's also why Son of Whyachi lost, supposedly, is there was some electrical feedback from the speed controllers during that big shock load that burned out their receiver. So apparently the robot still had power, but no signal.
Yeah. So if you are if you happen to be a manufacturer of spread spectrum receivers out there, please make us a ruggedized version with like serious cables and some isolation. That'd be really great. We'd really like that. I would buy it. Well, at least one. I wouldn't say all of them, but at least one.
You don't need that many.
Hopefully, I only need one.
Well,
But yeah, that is definitely I'd say that's the weakest link of all these robots.
Yeah.
And everyone basically uses the same stuff.
And the reason they work again is you turn, they randomly get signal again, and
Yep.
or you shut off your transmitter, turn it back
Or
on,
you
and
get
it
hit.
links back up.
Someone pushes you into the hammers, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
you get signal again.
Power switches.
Power switches.
Not all
Power
the time.
switches are another reason. All these things that should be pretty simple, but
Who had that happen last year?
Ghost Raptor,
Ghost Raptor, yeah.
I think, had a power switch
Was it
issue.
all the way on or something?
It was like, it was right in the back,
arced
wasn't
out
it?
or something? No,
Something-
like it
something
arced
happened.
because they've been using the same one for 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Replace your components every so often.
Yeah. Good rule of thumb. Any other questions? All right. Well, I guess that concludes. Next week is a heck of an episode. Hopefully, we don't get interrupted by some politicians again. So mad about that. I apologize, West Coast and Mountain Time. That really sucked. And hopefully
We got to watch the episodes. So.
Yeah, we got to watch it just fine because we on the East Coast, pow, and East Coast to Beast Coast, and and yeah, so we didn't have the issue, but I'm sorry, and I hope you enjoyed the fights after the fact. If you want to watch the whole episode, it's going to be up on Hulu probably by now, or on abc.go.com. And they're putting up the fights on YouTube and on Facebook all the time. So go to BattleBots on Facebook. And next week I fight, and it's going to be the conclusion of the first round, round of 32. It's an awesome fight that I have. There's some other really great fights. There's 4 full fights and then 4 highlighted fights. It's going to be a jam-packed evening. It should be good. There's some really good ones in there.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's
myself.
going to be good. All right. What?
Catch our old after shows.
Oh yeah, and lastly, we're going to be posting the old after shows on YouTube in the next couple days. So if you missed any or want to catch up on some, or if the stream was absolute crap and you missed some audio or something, we have legit versions with nice clean audio. So you should totally go watch those when we post them. All right. But other than that, thanks for watching. Join us next week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.